Be okay.
Very nice. Where are you? What part of Florida are you?
In Destin, actually.
Nice, nice.
In Destin.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good.
We are live on Facebook.
Anyone hear the news about Perkins?
No.
No. Hi. How about? I got news.
What's that?
Walgreens bought out Perkins.
Oh.
Really?
The last of our hometown pharmacies.
Wow.
And they're gonna continue to operate the one up close to the hospital, but the newer one down there close to where the Walgreens is, they're just going to move the prescriptions up there to that Walgreens and close that facility down there.
Wow.
Well, huh.
Will it operate under Walgreens then, the one near the hospital, or will it continue to be Perkins?
Oh, it'll be Walgreens all the way.
Wow.
Wow.
All right, let me share my screen and post the agenda here for y'all. Give me just a second. All right, you should see it if you don't already, you should see it in a second or two.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll call to order. Pursuant to Governor Lee's Executive Order number 16 and the need to limit the community spread of COVID-19, the July 10th, 2020 Gallatin Economic Development Agency Board meeting is being held by electronic means to protect the public health, safety, and welfare of the board and citizens of Gallatin. Instructions for public participation in the meeting are available on the website of the Gallatin Economic Development Agency at gallatingetsit.com.
And then you need a motion and a second to have a live meeting and a roll call.
Okay. All right. So
I'll make a motion for the live meeting.
thank you, Richie.
I'll second.
Okay. So roll call, Tom Neal.
Yes. Approved.
Richie Harville.
Yes, present.
Tim Hurdle.
Present.
And Dwayne Scott.
Present.
And I'm Jeannie, and I accept that as well. Thank you. Okay, so next we have the approval of the minutes. The packet was sent out earlier this week, so hopefully you had an opportunity to take a look at that.
I have, and Jeannie, this is Dwayne. I move to accept the minutes as submitted.
Thank you.
I second.
Okay. Roll call, Tom Neal.
Yes.
Richie Harville.
Approved.
Tim Hurdle.
Approved.
And Dwayne Scott.
Approved.
Thank you. Okay, next we'll move on to approval of the financials. Is there any commentary on this?
Rosemary's pulling those up.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll do the summary first, if that's okay with y'all. We still haven't closed out officially the fiscal year 20. So there are probably some items that have not been processed through finance yet that will apply to this 2020 budget. So as of today, roughly, it says we're giving about $35,000 back to the general fund, but it's probably going to be more like $25,000, which will make the mayor happy. She had asked for everybody to try and not spend as much as they could not spend. When you look at the reserve committed account, there's a slight discrepancy between the numbers that I have and the numbers that Rachel in finance has. There's a part of this budget that James and I can't see. It gets put in a budget line that is not available for us to look at. And so we're going back to figure out where we're off a little bit, but we roughly have about $200,000 in our reserve committed account. And I've already taken out in my numbers, our half of the site development grant that we have, and I can talk about that later, but that's the summary. And then let me go to the other items. I mean, this is probably hard to see on a screen, but this is our, well, pardon me, let me go back to something else. I've got 4 budget items in here. Okay, here's our year-end operations budget. And there's really nothing unusual in it. You'll notice again, I think last time, that there are some of these items over here that have an additional number attached to them, 251, 251, 251, 251. Any money that we spent related to COVID is possibly being reimbursed by a grant that we're applying for. So the city should get some of that money back. We're obviously not the only department that had COVID related expenses. So, and then here is our partial reserve committed account. We're finished with the Blue Jay Way traffic signal, so that'll roll off. You won't see that next year. And there's some other things you won't see again next year. And then this is our year-to-date, July 1 to June 30th operations budget, which is less than our budget from last year, as we have discussed before. So that's all the budget information. If you have questions, James or I can answer them.
Rosemary, this is Dwayne. I have a question. The budget did not change additionally after the COVID deal. I think when the mayor was on our last fiscal meeting. So there was not a reduction even further of our budget.
Well, the 2021 budget, they took out roughly $52,000. It was $40,000 for the PR firm and $12,500 for the retail recruitment. We kind of expected that to get taken away again just because of the COVID budget. But that's those are the reductions from our original request and what was approved by the council.
Okay.
Are there other questions or comments?
I move we approve. I
Thank
move
you,
we
Tom.
approve the budgets as presented.
Okay. Second?
Second.
I'll say,
Okay. And I'll do a roll call vote. Tom Neal,
Yes.
Richie Harville,
Yes, approved.
Tim Hurdle,
Approved.
and Dwayne Scott.
I'll approve.
And I will as well. Thank you. It passed. So old business pandemic update. That's wide
There is a
open, isn't it?
It's almost impossible to tell you that, you know, we are being very, very careful in our office. We have had an intern that's been with us for the last 2.5, 3 weeks. But other than that, we haven't had anybody in the office. We're being very, very careful. Fortunately, all the industries are moving forward. Everything that we've been working on out there is moving forward. It's just been a different world, folks. You know that as well as I do. I think long term, we still have some new RFIs coming through. We've got the states that's requested us to put our name in for a couple of projects. So things are still moving forward on that end also. It's just the day-to-day that's a little different is all. And Rosemary, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to add that we had one business that has shuttered, but not because of the virus. It just happened to be that the CRI, the Student Loan Collection Center, they did not get a new contract with the federal government is the explanation that we were given. We knew that was possibly happening before COVID hit, but they have closed their doors and they turned in a warn notice, and that was about 116 people.
Wow.
But call center people, and I think that they'll be easily absorbed. But it was not a COVID related closing is the main thing I want to share.
That's the old Nationwide building?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Okay. So that's available, I guess, too. They already stopped operations?
Yes, they did. In fact, we didn't get the warn notice until the day after they had laid everyone off. It was a little disconcerting, so we didn't get a chance to help place all those people.
Interesting. Other pandemic update or anything from the board about how you're feeling, how your business is continuing to operate or struggle? Okay.
Let me ask y'all a question. Being down here for a week, of course, heard about the mandated mask wearing from Anthony Holt in Sumner County. Does that mean like the restaurants that are still open are going back to the way it was a few weeks ago, like takeout only, no dine-in, or how does that work? Just curious.
No, it does not mean there's no dine-in or anything. It's just whenever you're out in public, you're supposed to wear a mask. There are still restaurants open and doing inside service. That is one thing we had a question about. If your business is not open to the public, how do you handle that? But our understanding is it's just public-facing situations, whether you're out on the sidewalk or the street or walking through the parking lot or going into an entity that is a public access building. James, did you want to add anything to that?
Well, that's yeah, we have been in touch with a lot of our industries. They've called with questions and that kind of stuff, and that's our interpretation. Again, it's interesting, you know, when this first hit, we went out and called all of our industries and got, you know, a list of what they were doing, things that they were doing to make sure their workers were safe, and all of them were working very, very hard. They all want their workforce to be healthy. They're all highly motivated to keep their workforce healthy and have done a good job of it. So we aren't concerned about anything except that public space, as Rosemary said.
What's the update on the school system? Are they still opening August 3rd?
I have not heard.
Okay.
Nashville just announced that they're opening without going to school, kind of thing.
Yeah, virtually through till Labor Day, and I guess they
Right.
reassess after that. Yeah, okay.
Right.
Has the city released any updated financials regarding sales tax revenue? And I think the last numbers we had was March or so.
April came back and it was higher than last year, not as
Nice.
much as we had expected. It was up just, I think, just $21,000 over last year, but still, that's
Still
a very,
up,
very
yeah.
positive sign. Yes.
It's
I think
great.
it helped that we have 2 new car dealerships in town.
Right.
Super.
Good. Good.
Okay. Other comments, questions? Next item under old business is marketing PR.
So we are working with Clint Brewer right now to try to put something together. We're probably looking at late August, middle to late August, for any kind of an announcement coming out of our project. So we have time to kind of put together a good voice. They have, the company has sent us a video and have shown that has told us they want to do one of those for us. And so we're working, hopefully we'll be working with their communications team to help craft the message. You know, the one that they put out for another community really doesn't look and sound like Gallatin. And so we're hoping that we'll be able to go ahead and help shape that message. And they indicated they would be amenable to us helping do that. So that's kind of where we're working on that right now.
Is that the one that was available that I watched?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, our town is a little different from that one for sure.
Agreed. Agreed.
But that was a great video, I thought, for them.
Yes, yes. And again, the company has said that they will go ahead and put one of those together for us. So we'll be able to use that for marketing for some time.
Okay. Under new business, strategic planning.
We need to look at our calendar. It's time to sit down and do that again. And it's going to be a unique approach because things are different out there. We need to kind of put our heads together and figure out what it is we need to be doing, where we need to be going, what we need to be pursuing. And I would like to have some input on that. And August sometime, I don't know, is everybody going to be in town in August, or what's everybody's travel schedule look like?
I can't get out of the house. What do you mean? Am I going to be?
All right. So we'll reach out to the Industrial Development Board too. Or, do we want to have one just by ourselves, or do we want to include them?
James, do you see this being virtual or on site?
It's going to have to be virtual. I guess. I don't know. I don't know how to bring Jody Lentz into this if we do it virtually, but
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, we do have a huge dining room. If you've ever been to City Hall and been to the dining room, we certainly have the ability to space 6 feet apart and try to do this in person with him here, because how his style, which is he draws everything. So you do have that option if you're comfortable with that. It really is mostly about everyone's comfort level, because I think with the 5 of you and the 7, 12, 13, 14, 15 people is about what we would have if everybody showed up. So it just, think about it, and if you're comfortable coming to the dining room and spreading out that way, and we'll have all kinds of hand sanitizers and masks and spray and towels and Lysol and everything you want. So, but if you'd rather do it virtually, we can arrange that too. Hopefully Jody can work around that, because his style, I think, is very valuable to what we do.
15 people is a lot for a virtual meeting, I think. So,
yeah.
I don't know how effective it could be virtually if we have a joint meeting. But anyway, yeah. So do think about your comfort level with that, and if you'll get some dates out to us, then I guess everybody can just individually respond, and we'll see how it goes from there.
Could I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Back to the industrial property on the Bowles property. The other organization, they have money to buy property, don't they? They are empowered to buy property. Couldn't they buy?
They do have the ability. I don't know if they have the funds available right now. I think we have some funds that are in with the city because we sold the property to Archer Data Centers, and we're getting ready to close on the property to DNS Industries, and and we just sold property also to Perfect Fit. So we could come up with close to $1.5 million out of those funds to start working on things, Tom.
Yeah. But that would just probably be for light manufacturing, though, wouldn't it? That area.
Well, and again, I think that's part of what this retreat should be about. I think, is it time for us to concentrate on, we've got a biopharmaceutical company that might be looking at us, and that could go into a regular business park. Is it time for us to start looking at property and ways of attracting, offices and corporate headquarters and those kind of things? It's just, I think that's what our retreat needs to focus on this year. Right.
Okay. Other comments? Silver tsunami.
All right. had a really good webinar that TVA put on, and it kind of opened my eyes to a couple of things. And one of them is, 2/3 of all businesses out there are owned by baby boomers, and about 2/3 of those companies do not have succession planning. And when they decide to retire, that payroll goes away, that wealth goes away. It just gets trapped in there, because folks that own businesses, they have about 65% of their wealth that's in that business. And with no succession planning, they can't get their money out. Again, those payrolls quit, all that stuff happens. And that's something I really hadn't spent any time thinking about. And so what I've done is I've reached out to a couple, 3 banks to talk to the folks there. And what we're going to do is convene a kind of panel discussion, get all these banks together. I've got a list of every business in Gallatin that has, that's $1 million or more in business annually, 170 businesses or so. And I think the first thing we're going to do is make sure that this has legs, talk to these people, find out, have they been talking to their clients about it? When they're lending them money, are they asking them these questions? And if there really hasn't been that much of a conversation about it, I think the first thing we're going to need to do is really put kind of an awareness campaign out there and make sure that all these business owners find out that, if you plan for this succession, it's easier on you, it's better for you financially, those kind of things. And just see if we can get a conversation and some kind of work going in the community, so that when they start retiring, that we can keep that wealth here in the community. It doesn't disappear.
That's good. And what a clever way to brand it, Silver Tsunami. So I guess they're silver and they're leaving.
Waves of them
waves of them that'll be leaving. Yeah. And James, I may have some resources for that too. Just some forms to fill out about it, getting people to think in that direction.
Okay.
So let me know,
Excellent.
and I can get some of those resources to you as well.
Okay.
Interesting. Board officers. I think we're maybe a month or 2 behind in putting up a slate of officers, and actually I don't know that we ever filled Mike Foster's position, so we probably need to address that this morning.
Well, and first I'd like to say thank you to Tom and Dwayne for agreeing to come back on for another term.
Absolutely. Yes.
We are excited about that. I appreciate the continuity and your input. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Very vital.
And so Jeannie and I talked a little bit about this, and Dwayne has agreed to stay on as treasurer, and I spoke to Tim, and he's agreed to come on as the secretary. And Jeannie,
Awesome.
I appreciate you continuing to chair us, to keep us rolling forward.
Yes, it's a pleasure. Thank you all. Do we need to do a vote on that?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay. So if I could get a
move-
motion. Yes, thank you, Tom.
I move we accept the nominations as presented for the offices mentioned.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you, Dwayne. Tom, Neil,
Approve.
Richie Harville has gone mute. Your mute button is on.
All the seagulls in the background.
That's it, right? Yeah. Tim Hurdle.
Can you hear me now?
Approved.
Thank you, Richie. Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, approved. Sorry.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. And Dwayne Scott?
I approve.
Awesome. Thank you all. The executive director's report, James.
Okay, as I mentioned earlier, and we talked about last week, Regenesis has purchased the building, the Insteel building. They've got contractors in there working to bring that up to standard. We're probably 60 days out before they actually have the company itself moves in, but that's going forward well. Perfect Fit did purchase property in phase 1 of the industrial center. We closed on that recently. And as I mentioned earlier, we're very, very close with DNS Industries. We just having to jump through a couple more hoops with the bank. It's COVID stuff has really made banks kind of pull back and re-examine every loan that's going out and make sure that the company is still valid. And obviously for several $1 million, they've kind of come back and gone over and over and over it. He's a little bit frustrated, but he's really excited about moving forward with that. Their contractor is in town and there's actually equipment on site. They're just chomping at the bit to get things moving out there. So I'm excited about that. We have had an inquiry and we're talking with a subcontractor for an electrical company, and they're looking to put up a training center to train between 200 and 500 electricians to serve Project Wolfhawk. And it's exciting that they're actually going to just train people. They aren't trying to just, scrape every electrician within 150 miles. They're going to actually put a training facility together and have an apprenticeship, and hopefully that will really bode well long-term for our community and actually for all of Middle Tennessee. So excited about that one. Also, we did get a call from the state and asked us to respond to an RFI, a beverage company. Have no idea. It's Project Hummingbird. And we just sent that stuff in yesterday. We'll see what that looks like. It's going to be a large facility, 400,000 square feet, but only about 100 to 150 employees. And as we've made clear, starting wages are at $18 an hour for that. And we have told a lot of people no that they can't look at our 30 acres that's left in the industrial center because their starting wages aren't high enough. And we're just in a really good position right now that we're not even talking to them. So this one does start at $18 an hour. And then as I was talking to the folks at the state, they were indicated there's a biopharmaceutical company looking, and we'll have an RFI next week. They want about 10 acres to put kind of a campus together. And that's the kind of thing that maybe we can move out onto Greenlee or, someplace out that direction rather than try to put in our industrial park. So I think that's what we're going to be looking at for that. And then there's that pesky Wolfhawk. It's just continues on and on and on. And as we spoke yesterday with them about it, it probably looks like the middle of August, but they have no idea when there might be an announcement. It will be a virtual announcement. There's not going to be much. Clint Brewer is working with the folks at the governor's office, trying to put something together down. Apparently on Capitol Hill, they have a room they've set up for these kind of things, and just they'll be able to have the governor and a few folks there and televise it, put it out that way. But we just don't know at this time what that's going to look like or even when it's going to happen. And that's it for this end of the life.
I saw in the paper yesterday where the ice rink thing closed on the property down there. They're gonna start anytime soon.
Yeah, they did close on the property, and last time I spoke to him, he was thinking sometime this month they would be able to make an announcement regarding the partnership with the Predators, which would kind of kickstart all that. Like I said, they've got financing put together for the facility itself, and they're just kind of tightening up the plans for the rest of the property. But it looks like hopefully by the end of this month, that will also be announced.
Thank you.
Exciting. Good. There was talk several months ago about a brewery downtown. When you mentioned the beverage, it just kind of reminded me. Is that still in the works?
Yes.
Okay.
Josiah Trandle, he's working on it. It's slowly coming together in the building. They're getting stuff done. He had a little problem with codes and getting. Speaking of codes, they've had cases of COVID.
Oh.
That end of the hall is empty.
Oh.
And fortunately, some of them are working from home, but they've had a hospitalization, those kind of things. And so it's slowing down the process.
I see.
Wow.
Wow.
When people apply for permits, sometimes it takes longer to get there than it should. And so Josiah was one of those folks for a while. After Tim Weekly left too, there was a big change because Tim was a large voice in that department, and he could make decisions, and he made a decision, and then when he left, somebody else made a different decision. And so it had to, it's just slowed things down. But short answer is yes, it's moving forward.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Good. Additional business, anyone?
I would like to ask all of you to please, when you're out and about, church, neighborhoods, whatever you do out there, and wherever you are actually, please encourage people to make sure they have completed their census. The response rate is very low. Yes, the census folks are going to go door to door, I believe, starting sometime in August. The deadline to complete your census was extended to October 31st, but we are woefully behind, and that determines our funding for the next 10 years. And we need that. We frankly need that money for
the poor census really took a back seat, didn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
We're trying to do some events. We had a big deal planned for SquareFest, and then SquareFest was canceled. So we're trying to find opportunities to just at least get the word out. So anything you can do to help is greatly appreciated.
Sure. And speaking of cancellations, I'm sure everyone's aware that Third Thursday was also canceled for this year as well.
Yes, ma'am. It just continues to be an odd year.
Yes, it does, doesn't it? I know, for sure.
And
Rosemary, you have any suggestions of ways that we can help promote the census a little bit? Maybe just, as a distractor, because I'm really tired of the things that we have to talk about.
Well, the city, for example, next Friday, we are going to be at St. Luke AME Zion Church on Bly from 11 to 1, and we will be giving away lunch. There'll be a sign out that take the census, free lunch. Now, if people show up and don't want to do the census, we're not going to make them. That's not the point. I mean, it is the point to get them to take it, but it's not an harassment kind of thing. So we're going to be giving out free lunches next Friday for a couple of hours. And that census tract where that church is, it has not even reached a 50% reporting rate. What's interesting about that census tract, unlike all the others, we have 14 census tracts that affect Gallatin. Unlike all the others, that tract is only reporting electronically by 22%. So less than half of those people are replying to the census electronic. They're mailing them in, which is great. So we're going to try and get the word out that you don't have to have a computer. You don't have to have you can call in by phone. And when you call in by phone, you can actually, there's like 14 or 15 different languages you can choose. So we're going to be handing out flyers. We're going to ask some of the churches if they're willing to hand out flyers. We have a bunch of those. I don't know if you remember a couple of years ago from the eclipse, we have these frisbee fans. You could fold them up and put them in a pocket, but then pop them open, and they're fans. We're going to use those at SquareFest, but now we have those. And if y'all know of an event where there are going to be people that would need to encourage to do the census, let us know. Yeah, just let Jeff Hensel in the mayor's office, Suzanne Gearholt in finance, and intern in finance. The four of us are pretty much the census team. We welcome any ideas. Also, next Friday in the afternoon, we're going to have Pelican Snowball in the City Hall parking lot giving away free snowballs. And we have purchased this huge kiosk that looks like a giant iPhone. It's about, I don't know, it's quite 6 feet tall, but we're going to put that in the lobby, and you just, there's going to be a bunch of stylus pens. And so we're going to have that there for people who don't have access to a computer and they want to stop by City Hall and do their census. That can do that too. So we're
Hey,
trying.
Rosemary, there's
Sure.
the car shows are still going on the weekends, Friday in Hendersonville, Saturday in Gallatin. That may be a good place to hand out flyers.
Tim, are they still doing that on Saturdays?
I'm sorry?
Is the car show doing it at the Civic Center on Saturdays?
Yes.
Okay.
And
Happy
then the
birthday,
big one is,
by the way.
oh, thanks. The big one's down in Hendersonville, and then Gallatin's is a little bit smaller, but they've had a really good turnout the several weeks that we've gone.
Thank you.
Is there a link that you can send out that you can click on and do it electronically? And, you know, if people
yeah.
don't have computers,
Actually-
everybody's got a phone.
It's
Everybody can do it from your-
census.gov.
Okay.
And if you go to 2020census.gov, it'll show you the options. You have to, click down and complete it now, and then you have to scroll down and give you the phone numbers and stuff like that. But yes,
Okay.
and I'll be happy to send y'all any information that I can. So.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. All right. Anything else, gang? We do want to wish a belated birthday greeting to Tim. Tim's birthday was yesterday. Happy birthday, Tim.
Birthday, Tim.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Anything else, anyone, before I ask for a motion to adjourn? Okay, thank you. Motion to adjourn.
I'll move.
Thank you,
Second.
Dwayne. Thank you, Tom. So Tom Neal, we'll do a roll call on this, on the adjournment. Tom,
Agree.
Richie,
Agree.
Tim,
Agree.
Dwayne,
I agree.
and so do I. So thank you, everyone. I appreciate your attendance, your participation, and hope everyone has a safe and enjoyable holiday weekend. Thank you.
Right.
See ya.
Hey, James, this is Jeff Henschel. Tom Neal.
Yes,
I had to be off headset for a second. The meeting is closed, is it?
right. Yeah,
Okay,
I didn't
okay.
push the button.
That's
You
quite all
put-
right. Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
sir. Have a good day.
Thank you.